Turn up, let's go.
Welcome, Leadership Nation. Why am I wearing a poncho? It's because today our guest is a Latin dance instructor. He has been all over the world. He's been trained by world-class instructors. He's won multiple awards. And now he's an instructor at Steps Dance Studio in downtown Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And before that, he actually wanted to be a professional basketball player, which was derailed by injury, among other things. But you got to check that out, because how someone bounces back from that is really important. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that he's also a real estate investor, and he's been able to diversify himself. So, guys, without further ado, I want to introduce you to Angelo DeTorres. Hey, Angelo, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for that great introduction.
Well,
very nice.
I'm so glad to have you. And to be honest, if people go to your website at stepdancestudio.com, did I get that right? Stepsdancestudio.com.
Yeah, stepdancestudio.com. Yes.
Okay, perfect. If they go to stepsdancestudio.com, they go in, they see your bio. Man, you've got a whole host of awards and things you've done, people that you've trained, and for the average listener, are we going to know some of the people that you've trained in salsa and bachata in dancing?
No, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who do social dance. It's funny enough that I sometimes run across people that are in the dance scene, and we'd be talking about the same people. It's actually a very, very intimate community, even though it's a very large one here in Toronto. It's some people do go out there and dance, and it's funny enough that I'll go anywhere, even to a seminar, an investment seminar, and I'll come across some people, and they'll be like, "Hey, listen, do I know you?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And it's like, "Do you dance?" And because that's the first thing I ask them, right? And they're like, "Yeah, I dance salsa or bachata," and I'm like, "That's probably how I know you." It's just a very, very big community. Right. But it's very intimate at the same time. So I might have seen people's faces, but obviously just not know them or never met them before. But again, at the same time, we're always in the same events and venues and social spots.
Yeah.
So for sure, and not just anyone that has to be a professional to know.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure there are some people out there that probably know some of that. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to have you on the show because, especially right now with everything that's going on, but more importantly, you cross the areas of relationships and fitness. And, I've got a love for dance, and, there's something that you're able to express there, to your spouse, to, your partner, in dance that sometimes words don't have. And,
right.
And I found when I was younger, for sure, that dancing was a great way to get exercise without even realizing that you're exercising and you have a great time. I mean, you can just see by your build alone that you're in great shape, and it keeps you young. And so I definitely want to talk about that, because what good is, we talk about money, but what good is making a ton of money if you don't have your relationships there, if you don't have your health, right? You want to have those pieces as well. And so I definitely wanted to have you on, and I'm so glad that we get to do this. What do you have, or what do you see as your superpower?
I'm going to say patience. Patience.
Every parent out there knows that that's a superpower for sure. So okay, so Angelo, tell us a little bit about your background. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? Give us a little bit about your background.
Sure. I'm from the Philippines, and I moved to Canada when I was 11 years old. And I grew up in Scarborough.
Okay.
I grew up in Scarborough and then moved to Markham. But, Scarborough has my heart. So I'm back in Scarborough again, So kind of raised here in Scarborough. So my background in terms of dance, I didn't actually, from a young age, I kind of knew that I had a passion for dance because I always enjoyed it. I tried to imitate Michael Jackson. I tried to break dance like the B-boys, My shuffling got pretty good, but I just never got to the power moves, So just kind of growing up, I met friends and I would play sports. I was very active, and I discovered basketball through my brother. I have an older brother who was phenomenal at basketball. So I kind of really looked up to him, and I was like, I want to play basketball like you. So I kind of really took it on as my first passion. So I actually put dancing in the back burner. I'm not going to dance now. I just want to play basketball and see what I can do with that, because I actually played in competitive basketball leagues in the Filipino leagues called PhilCan, because I thought maybe I would make it in the Philippines. I'm pretty tall for a Filipino guy. And so I was playing in competitive leagues for a little while. And then, things happened where I injured myself, my knee. And so I've had to simply just walk away from the game of basketball. And at that point, I just stopped being active. And so I was gaining a lot of weight. And so I'm like, man, I have to do something. And so funny enough, So let me just backtrack a little bit. I was introduced to the Latin culture in high school while I was actually still playing basketball. But I had started dating a Hispanic girl from Ecuador. And, she would bring me into her family parties and it's very similar to the Filipino parties, tons of great, delicious food and, huge family. The only thing that separated our parties was that they would play salsa music. Everybody get up, start dancing. I was just like, what is this? What is this, right? And so I was like, wow, I'm like, I gotta learn this, right? Because in me, right away, it struck a chord, and it's like, they're dancing, and I love dancing. So I was like, you gotta teach me the basics and stuff like that. So she taught me the basic, and I just kind of took it from there. But yeah, so having said that, I continue to pursue playing basketball, and I kind of really put that back in the back burner. And after my injury, I had stopped being active, and then I discovered salsa again when I had gone to a trip with my buddy in Cuba. And I met two Russian girls from Toronto who were actually dancing salsa. And my buddy knew that I could dance, and he's like, yo, listen, go and dance with these girls, right? So I was like, okay, no problem. So I actually danced with them. And then to find out and realize that they're from Toronto. And then they had suggested, hey, listen, you're pretty good. You should go to this school that we go to in Toronto called Steps. And, and at that point, me not knowing really what's going on, I'm like, you just told me I'm good, but now you're telling me to go to school. Right. So it was a total opposite of it. I was like,
so this is before you've even aligned yourself with Steps Dance Studio.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. And this is how I found out about the company.
Right.
This is so so actually I'll introduce her now, but her name is Jennifer O'Coin, and she is the founder and the co-owner of Steps Dance Studio. And so, yeah, I found out about the studio in Cuba, dancing salsa with these Russian girls, right? So I'm like, okay.
Wait. So you found out about Steps Dance Studio from some Russian girls that were in Cuba and the studios in Toronto. Okay, right. Got it.
And so we simply come back to Toronto. I didn't actually go to the school immediately, and I don't even think I had planned anything, but I think it was just fate, because I went out to a club and I simply ran into the same Russian girls in the club.
Wow.
here in Toronto, and they were like, you never came to the school, like, you know, and I just, at that point, it just all connected. I'm like, it's meant to be. I need to go to this school.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, you know what? This time I'm gonna go. And I went, and I still remember the very first time I stepped foot into the studio. It was 2007, and it was 7 p.m. It was the very first class that I've ever took, and it was cha-cha.
Yeah.
It wasn't even salsa or bachata.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I stepped foot in there, and that's how this all came about. I stepped foot in there. I met Jennifer, and obviously I was just a student, you know, and I kind of just dove right into it because I immediately fell in love with it. Like when I discovered salsa again in Cuba, I was like, man, this is what I need to do just to get back into shape, because I was, like I said, I had stopped playing basketball, period. I just had to really walk away from it because I just couldn't play anymore. And this was something that I could do, and my body can handle it, and it wasn't too taxing to my body to the point where, you know, after I danced, I wouldn't be able to walk, because that was the case with basketball. After playing, I was literally limping, and I could not even walk. It was just very, very hard on the body. And and from there, it went super fast for me, because when I signed up for Steps, I signed up for a 6-month membership. And let me tell you, Neil, I felt like I lived in that studio. I went to the studio almost every single day. And after going to the studio, I've literally just kind of gone out to just, you know, social dance in many different, you know, events and clubs in Toronto.
Okay, wait, I got to stop you for a second before we get into, okay, I'm going to pause you at the 6-month membership. I want to come back to something here.
Sure.
You talked about getting injured in basketball, and the place that kind of took you into. I don't want to just glaze over that, because, you know, you started talking about the eating and getting out of shape and stuff like that. What kind of happened to you in that place? Can you explain to us a little bit? Because I think in all of our journeys, there's something that happens, maybe something to do with our dreams or the hopes, or, you know, can you give us a little bit more of what kind of happened for you at that point?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely, man. So when I got injured playing basketball, you know, obviously that was a dream of mine. And so when the injury happened, you know, it kind of shattered my dreams. It's just like, you know, now it's going to be even twice as hard, because trying to be an athlete is just, you know, a lot of people think, you know, you're playing basketball, you get to do what you enjoy and love, and it's fun. But it is difficult. It is difficult to try and make it to be a professional, anything really. But to be a professional athlete is you have to be in tip-top shape. You have to be constantly, you know, improving. And when the injury happened, it's just like, it puts a total stop. It goes into a complete halt of what you can do to improve. And, you know, I was just trying to make it. Honestly, you know, I wasn't born and put into training school and stuff like that. I had to just try and figure it out myself. You know, at the age of 16, I was like, okay, now I have a part-time job. I can actually try and join these competitive leagues on my own, you know. And so when that happened, and I knew that after I'll tell you what my injury is. I blew out my ACL, and I had the surgery. So I had an ACL repair done, and after the surgery, you know, I did the physio. I tried to get back into it, but I just knew that it was never the same. Just didn't feel right. It didn't feel the same. And it hurt too much after playing. Like, I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this to my body. And so it really kind of put me in a downward spiral to just kind of like do nothing really.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, a lot of times for a lot of people, it's the same where, you know, we turn into, I wouldn't say it was extreme for me, but because I just wasn't doing anything, and I'm Filipino and we eat a lot of rice and all that, it just started to happen. It just started to happen where
Right.
I began to gain weight, and I was just like, wow. But for me, I mean, I realized that I'm like, I need to do something, and I just need to pick myself up and get myself out of this slump, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously, you know, it does take away from you knowing that you can't do what you had planned, you know, initially. And so I just knew that I had to, you know, get myself out of that and come up with another plan. And I feel like dance did that for me.
Mm-hmm.
It really changed my life. Like it really kind of like saved me. Like, here, this was your initial passion. This is what you discovered first. It's like it kind of like it kept on coming back to me, you know, because as a young kid I was dancing, and then in high school it was introduced to me again, and then, you know, I walk away from this, and then I go to Cuba, it's back in my face. I don't even actually go to the studio, and I come to the studio to a club, and I run into the same two people again, and it's like, hey, boom, this is in your face again. You can't run from me.
Right.
It was fake. It's crazy.
Right. Right. Just out of curiosity, if you hadn't found dance, what do you think you would have ended up doing?
Ah, man, that is a good question. You know, luckily for me, and I believe this in anything, whether it's business or relationships, that you surround yourself with the people you want to be like, and you know, I luckily have some amazing friends that are leaders, that are you know, a great example for so many, you know. And so I think if I didn't become a dancer and a business owner, I think I would still have some sort of business, whether it be, you know, like investing, and, you know, and I do that now.
Yeah.
And I think it was just, you know, with sorry,
okay,
go
I get you. We're not gonna go down that road any further. I see the man about to tear up with no, don't take away dance. I was like, okay, I didn't mean to do that to you. I didn't want to take away dance from you.
It's okay. We could edit. We could edit. I mean, we can. I can go back to it, actually. I just wanted to actually say, I don't know how, I didn't know how to word it for you.
Yeah, go for it.
No, so let me just start over again. So if I didn't turn into dance, I think what I would be doing is that I would be, you know, I would start something else. I would start a business, because I truly believe that, you know, the people that I've surrounded myself with is just a perfect example that really give me the drive, you know, and really give me the push to, you know, to show me that there is something more out there. Because, you know, I was doing the 9 to 5, and like many people, I wasn't satisfied. You know, I wasn't happy, you know, and I knew that I would have to do something different. And to be honest, that's what I would be doing. I think I would definitely be investing, because, you know, after reading, you know, Rich Dad Poor Dad, I completely went on to that. And that's actually what enabled me to walk away from the 9 to 5. And I'm not going to say that it was the dance that did it, although that we got dance to where we wanted it to be. But what really gave me the courage to walk away from my 9 to 5 was investing in real estate.
Wow. Okay, thank you for that. Let's come back to your 6-month membership and living in the dance studio. Again, we're talking about you're basically living in the studio, Steps Dance Studio.
Yes.
And Jennifer is probably going out of her mind seeing you every day.
No, you know what? Honestly, I'm going to tell you this, okay?
Yes.
When people discover dance and when people discover salsa and bachata, it's truly an instant, I don't know what other words to use, but addiction. It's an instant addiction. So there's a lot of people that truly live there. You know, there's a lot. I'm gonna say this because there's a lot of people out there who, when they grow up and life gets busy and life starts to get in the way, you know, and your friends, you know, start having families and stuff, and there's some people that don't have that, right? They are at home. They don't know what to do. They don't, you know, and so when they finally discover something that's going to allow them to be active and to be social, it's like they just gravitate to it. And once they discover that, it's just like, oh my God, I just want to be there. I just want to be there all the time. And so that's what really kind of happened to me as well, you know. And when I discovered it, not only did I have the passion for dance, but the community, I've got to tell you, the welcome, they're so welcoming. The welcoming is overwhelming. And it's just like, wow, you just want to be there because everybody is just, you know, as Canadians would say, super nice.
Yeah.
And so they welcome you with open arm, and you get to meet so many different people. Yeah. And you guys are sharing the exact same passion. And the thing with dance is that it's connection. It's a connection, and it's a language. And it's a universal language that I can do anywhere around the world. Just as long as you know how to dance salsa, it's truly a language that you're learning, right? Because I can go anywhere around the world. I can go to China right now and not speak a word of Chinese or Mandarin, or, you know, and I can ask somebody to dance and be able to connect with them through dance. Yeah. It's a communication between lead and follow, and it's great.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Wow. Okay. So how did you go from there to now being co-owner of Steps Dance Studio?
So the one thing I'm going to say to a lot of people that are trying to, you know, if they have a plan and they want to accomplish something, you know, I don't want to say now. I think it happens in every generation where there's no patience. Mm-hmm. People want it now. People want it yesterday. People want to be where they want to go and not put in the work. I'm going to tell you that it took me a long, long time before I became co-owner. I had to put in my time. You know, it doesn't come easy. I worked myself into it. I joined the Steps semi-pro team. I had to try out for it. You know, I had to put in my time training. It's just like anything else, even in sports, you know, when you're trying out for something, you want to make sure that you're putting in the time, that you're constantly improving. So I had to do that. And once I've done that, you know, obviously being a part of the team is amazing. It's great. We got to travel together. Once I did that, I knew that, listen, I need to take this to the next level. And in order to do that, I said, hey, listen, you know, I approached Jennifer at this point and I asked her, listen, I'm very interested in teaching and becoming an instructor. Mm-hmm. And, you know, she listened to me and she, you know, saw something in me, and she said, you know what, okay, not a problem. Let's look into it. And she took me under her wing and she began to train me as an instructor. And once I've done that, I was instructing for a really long while. And then I began training, you know, Steps amateur teams, you know, and I've been doing that for a while. And so only about 6 years ago did I actually became co-owner at Steps Dance Studio. And so my advice to anyone, if you are trying to, accomplish something, you gotta be patient. You cannot expect it to happen tomorrow or yesterday. You gotta put in the time, and just like anybody else, you gotta really be patient, and do the right things.
Wow. That, I guess there's where your superpower comes in. You're patient. You allowed the process to work.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, I want to hear more about dance and the things that you teach there and the whole your whole process. So we're going to move over to the wealth building portion right now.
Sure. Yeah.
And we'll do that. So if you're listening, come join us over there.
I have trained with world-renowned instructors.
Yes.
So like Tito and Tamara, they're legendary in the salsa scene.
Yeah.
Billy Fajardo and Katie Marlow, they're also they are, I would say, the godfather and mother of like salsa.
Yeah.
And Latin hustle, and so these guys are the ones that run these amazing events. Billy Fajardo, he runs what we call the Salsa Summit in Miami.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, who was my business partner, is the one who actually organizes the Canada and Salsa and Bachata Congress here in Toronto. Yeah. Wow. And so, luckily for me, she's been in the scene for a while, and she knows all these people, and I get to finally train with all of them and learn from them. And so, oh my God, I can't even believe, with my wife, I actually met my wife through dance. And, she's my wife now. We have 2 kids, 2 daughters, Olivia and Kayla. They're amazing. But, so we met through dance.
Yeah.
And,
okay, wait, hang on one second, Angelo. And if you're joining us here for the second part of the Leadership to Wealth podcast, our guest today is Angelo DeTorres. All right, Angelo, continue on. You were telling us. You met your wife in dance.
Yes, I did actually. With dance, like I said, it was fate. Dance came to me and it brought me everything that I have now. And I met my beautiful wife, Kathy, through dance, and her and I competed together in bachata in the professional level here in Toronto, and we've been able to win the Toronto Bachata, so Salsa and Bachata Congress, and we also won at the Chim Callao event that happens in Niagara Falls. And so, yeah, dance has just been amazing for me, and with her and with my partner, knowing all these world-renowned instructors, my wife and I luckily had the opportunity to train with them. Right. And we've been able to accomplish what we did here in Toronto.
So there's another way, rather than having to go on an app, you can there's another way to meet your significant other.
Absolutely, man. Listen, I tell people this all the time, and you know what, everyone is so scared to be out there and be vulnerable, right? Because they don't want to seem like, oh, I don't want people to see me knowing that I can't dance, right? But I want to let everybody know that we all start somewhere. Mm-hmm. We all start somewhere, and there's no better way to start than to actually go into a place where everybody is starting with you. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing to fear. Because a lot of people, that's what discourages them, right? They don't want to be out there being seen like they can't dance. Mm-hmm. But what they don't realize is that every single person that's in that room with them are doing the exact same thing, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so that's the one thing a lot of people need to get over. and realize that, you know what, everybody starts somewhere. And the greatest thing about the salsa scene is that no one is judging. No one.
Yeah. Okay, so before we go any further, I've got to ask, if people want to get a hold of you, I know that they can obviously go to the website, stepsdancestudio.com.
That's right.
But if they want to get a hold of you, is that the best way for them to get a hold of you, to go to the website, or?
Yeah, I mean, there's many different ways to hit me up. You can hit me up by email, angelo@stepsdancestudio.com.
Yeah.
All right. You can also hit me up on Facebook. We have Steps Dance Studio Toronto there. Instagram, same thing, Steps Dance Studio Toronto. And yeah, I mean, you can message us there, and those will probably be the best way to get in contact with us.
Okay, great. Well, I wanted to get into that because I know, and I wanted to ask that because I know that, hey, we're going to talk about what you teach and, you know, the interacting with dance. But I know that right now, let's get right into it. Right now, we're dealing with a quarantine, and I think we're just starting to come out of the lockdown. And you guys are, if correct me if I'm wrong, you're just able to reopen the studio now.
That's right. So on Tuesday, August 4th, okay, because they've only announced it today. Yeah, today, that we can actually go into stage 3.
Right.
And so now August 4th is when we will be able to reopen.
Okay, so what have you been doing then for all this time? Did you just shut down the studio? What have you guys been doing?
No. So the minute we were shut down, you know, my business partner and I, you know, went right to work, and we put everything online. So we went virtual immediately, and we're probably the only school that actually did that in Toronto. And it's definitely a very, very interesting transition. And it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. And so we did everything possible to keep our, you know, students engaged, you know, give them some sort of normalcy, you know, in this crazy time, because you know, a lot of people got stuck at home. You know, they didn't have anything to do. And so for us to get right into going virtual, it was like refreshing for so many that have stuck around to support us and to continue to support us. You know, and I have to say, I'm really appreciative for those people that have done that, because this is really some tough times, and it really hit us hard. And I know it hit many other businesses hard as well, but I have to say, man, it's definitely a challenging time, because if I might say, I'm being honest, we've lost 90% of our business.
Right.
And so it's been a very, very challenging time.
Wow. Thank you for that, for sharing that. Now, with the moving online, what can someone expect if they were to interact with you guys online? Because even though we're now opening up things, you know, I know there's going to be a lot of people that are like, I'm going to stay home for now. Are they going to be able to interact with you guys online still?
Absolutely. Yeah. So even though we're opening, we are going to continue with our virtual classes.
Yeah.
Going forward, it's always going to be a part of the studio now. I feel as though this is the one thing that has really taught us, or this pandemic has really taught us how to deal with the situation, is to, you know, be prepared and be, you know, have some sort of ammunition to go with what's going on. And this pandemic has really given us this ammunition now. So we're going to really work with it and really improve it. And we're doing that right now, you know. So whether you're comfortable to come out or not, I want to let you know that you can interact with us. You will be getting the exact same quality of teaching, whether it's online or in person. And, you know, it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
we hope we get some people to come and join us. If you're not ready to come out yet, join us online.
That's awesome. So now I've got to ask, first of all, you and Jennifer are the fearless leaders of Steps Dance Studio. I love that when I saw that as the job title just over top of you guys, fearless leaders. And I appreciate that because I can only imagine what it must be like trying to help people in all the different places that they come to you from. And so I want to actually highlight, I know that you interact with people in sort of 4 different categories. And I know that you start with people that are absolute beginners. And then, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is what I understand. You've got absolute beginners, you've got recreational dancers, then you've got aspiring performers, and then you've got future competitors. And then you actually have a competitive team, correct?
That's right.
Okay. So tell me a little bit. I mean, you've got it. We're not just talking about show up and put on some shoes. You've got something along the way. Tell us.
Yeah, and I think what's important with a lot of things is you have to put some sort of structure into it, and so we have it structured in a way where, you know, you come in as a beginner at Steps Dance Studio.
Okay, I'm the beginner, absolute beginner. I'm coming in, and I'll actually do one better. I've got I sprained my ankle years ago, so I don't have the best ankle. But I'm coming in, and I'm an absolute beginner. What's in it for me?
Well, there's a lot of great things for you. Okay,
Yeah.
For one, okay, we will definitely improve your mobility. I'm not sure how you sprain your ankle, but for one, you'll definitely need to keep moving.
Come on, you blew out your ACL, so a little sprained ankle, we're good.
A little sprained ankle isn't gonna really stop you from dancing for sure. So the way it's really structured for anyone who comes through the door is that of Steps Dance Studio is that you begin to learn how to dance salsa, and you develop your skills. And as you develop your skills, like many people, what we do have in the studio is that you get to see the higher levels, you get to see the teams and the performers. And these are the things that are either gonna inspire you to wanna do those things, or if you're just somebody who just wants to have a good time and just want to social dance and just learn how to dance salsa, you know, it's going to put you in those directions. And so once that happens, we have those set in place for you so that you have these directions to go to. So for those who just want to social dance, you know, we have social parties that we have every single month that people can just come out and kind of get their dance fix on. Yeah. But for those people that want to be like, hey, listen, I want to do that. I'm seeing somebody perform. I want to do that. I want to start training that. Okay. So they can join a performance class. Okay. Where you don't have to actually audition. Yeah. You have to be just a certain level in terms of skills. And then you can actually join the performance class without having to audition. Okay. You know, that's the studio. And then once you've done that and you really want to push yourself some more, you can then join one of our amateur teams. We have an intermediate amateur team and an advanced amateur team. And for those, you have to audition for those. Right. And those are the things now that are really, really going to push you and challenge you to want to improve as a better dancer. Now, along this way, I want to let you know that you're building relationships. You know, you're improving your health by being active, and these things are truly, I'm going to say, the best investment that you can make for yourself. You know, a lot of people think that the biggest investment that they'll make is, you know, maybe buying a house or, you know, investing into something. But unless you take care of the one vehicle that really takes you places, that is truly the best investment that you can make for yourself. And doing all of this and sticking around to dance and being able to express yourself that way, it's truly an amazing experience. I gotta let people know the journey, the passion, the community, everything that you gain along the way of becoming a salsa, a bachata, or just a dancer in general. It's truly an experience that everyone should be doing.
So who do you find tends to come to your, what's the age group? What's the demographic? Who are the people that are interested in learning salsa and bachata these days?
And you know what, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but the amazing thing about salsa is that it is absolutely ageless. We have classes for kids as young as 5 years old, and we have people that walk into our studio that are 75 years old. And it's amazing how they can find dance, because I have one of my instructors whose mother discovered dance. Like she comes out now, and she comes to every single class. She is absolutely hooked. She's absolutely hooked, and she comes to every single class, and she challenges herself. And she said, this is the best thing that ever happened to me in my life, because now she's pushing herself. She's learning choreographies. She's pushing her brain to learn new things and to be active. And so, yeah, it's absolutely ageless, and it's honestly, it is absolutely amazing to see those people even perform. Okay, at that age, when they join like a performance group, and you see them doing the things that they are doing at that age, I want to be doing that, 100%.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you met your wife through dance. Do you guys, and I heard you mention that you actually have events every month. And so do you have other success stories as well?
Other success stories?
I can see it now. We need to give you a new title, the dancing counselor, because I'm sure you must get into a lot of these different things. I mean, you intersect with people when they're in all different places. I mean, right now, of all times, people are looking for a way to get out, looking for a way to express themselves, and we as human beings need connection, and we need physical connection as well. And so there's something in dance that gives you that, and which you alluded to earlier. So when someone comes out, what can they expect? You're going to kind of slot them into one of these areas, or how does that work? How do you
So the way it works,
your training?
Yeah. Sorry. So the way it works for us at Steps Dance Studio is that when you first walk into our studio, we do an assessment. Yeah. And so that's really what kind of separates us from a lot of like dance studios as well. Because when you come in there, we're not going to just throw you in. You know what I mean? We want to see, like you mentioned before, you've done some dancing, some salsa dancing. You
a long time ago, my friend, a long time ago.
And so that being said, you know what? Hey, listen, maybe you still remember all of that stuff, right? So let's assess you and let's see what level you're at. So that way we don't just throw you into like the absolute beginner. If you feel like you're not a beginner, right? If you still know some of this stuff, let's assess it. You know what I mean? And so that's what we do. Like we assess you to make sure that we place you in the proper class and we point you in the proper direction. Again, a lot of times, people turn to dance, obviously for to get fit, to keep moving,
Mm-hmm.
and the best thing about dance, I have to say, is that like I mentioned this before, it's not a chore. It doesn't feel like it. You're gonna want to like just do it, and you're not gonna feel like you're doing something that has to be done, right?
Right.
When I say like things that have to be done, like cleaning the kitchen or something like that, those are things that you have to do, right?
Yeah.
Dancing is not a chore at all. It's something that people just truly enjoy, and there's no resentment in doing any of that. And getting fit and meeting people and all of this stuff is just the byproducts of salsa.
Yeah. Okay, so Angela, people come out, they dance, they do that, they're doing this stuff. You're now just starting to reopen. You're modifying your classes to be able to continue to offer in class, to restart in class training, right? Obviously, people can still do the online. You just go to stepsdancestudio.com and they'll be able to do the online programs.
Right.
So what's next? What's next for you? What are there next steps for you guys in the opening, or is there next steps? Because one of the things that I'm finding hard is a lot of the competitive stuff must be greatly affected right now. And so what plans do you have right now? What's in the works?
So right now, what's really just in the work, and I'll be honest, I have fear even in just opening up, to be honest with you. Okay.
Right.
Just because of everything that can happen.
Right.
We're obviously taking the risk of opening up because we are obviously in the business that goes in the total direct opposite direction of what we're supposed to be doing, which is social distancing.
Right.
So right now, the plan is that we continue to do a lot of our classes as what we call shine, where you dance by yourself.
Yeah.
And you learn a little shine's choreography. With regards to partner work, what we're doing right now, what we have in place is that it has to be mask mandatory, where they have to dance with a mask. Obviously you're in front of somebody else and they're in your personal space.
Right.
So it is the total opposite. And truly, I'm just hoping and I'm crossing my finger that we don't have any cases or a second wave by any means, because that is truly gonna be a big hit for us again. So the plan is that we are trying to make sure that we are accommodating both the people that are comfortable and those that are not, by having both mask optional dancing by yourself, and then those mask mandatory for the partner works that we're gonna have.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be very, very slow. I know that there's gonna be a lot of people that are, like you mentioned, are still very much scared maybe to want to come out. So in this case, we're just taking it slow, with just maybe a few classes per day. And we'll take it from there. I mean, right now we really can't do much.
Right. Well,
but
we can hit this one right on we can hit this nail right on the head. If people are concerned about their health, then they're not going to come. And it's probably better for them to stay home because of that concern. And
I absolutely agree with you.
Right? Because you don't want to be trying to interact in this environment. Now, if you're a little bit more comfortable, then you understand that there are safety measures, right? There are health measures that you can put in place. You can wear masks. You can keep distance in a classroom, right? And then there's going to be couples that are like, I spend all day, every day with this guy anyway, so I'm going to be able to go in and still dance, and there's no need for them to keep any social distance because they're not social distancing at home, right? You're just not, there's going to be no exchange of partners in that way. So I think there's, depending on where people are at, for the individual, they're able to either interact with you online in social distanced classes or be able to do that, right? So
yeah. And the other measure that we're taking is that we are not doing any sort of rotation with partners or anything like that.
Yes.
So
yes,
what we're actually asking a lot of our students at Steps Dance Studio is that, listen, come to the studio with your partner. There's not going to be any rotating at all. Smart. So that you're in your own circle, you're in your own bubble, right?
Smart.
And so I think those are the kind of things that we're doing to make people feel a little bit more comfortable, whether they're okay with it or not, but we're just taking the extra precautions to just say, hey, listen, you know what? We're not going to have you rotate. This is going to be your partner for the day. That's it.
That's smart. Yeah, that's smart. That makes sense. Yeah, and if we do interact with a second wave, if there is a second wave, you've already set up the online, your online classes, and that you'll be able to continue. And people, let's be honest, it's not ideal, but it's something that everyone's having to work through. So, I think people get it, and obviously it's no fault of your own.
Right.
Okay, so that's kind of next steps. You've got some interesting groundwork over the next while to get through, and before you can even figure out, hey, what's next beyond that. So I really have to say, tip my hat to you, because I know that this is an area that you've got to tread lightly, because I know you care about people. So I know that you want their health and you want to take care of them. You want to make sure that they're okay. So you're going to care about all of those things, and you want for people to be able to have the experience that they can have with dance. And it's hard to explain to someone how powerful it is unless they come out and check it out, unless they come check you out online. I know that it's got to be hard to be able to explain that to people.
I mean, it is like we've created a survey, for people, obviously, because we want to gauge as to where their comfort levels are, what they want to do when they come back, things like this. And to be very honest with you, everyone, there's a lot of people. I'm going to say a lot of people, not everyone. A lot of people just can't wait to get back. They can't wait to get back to the studio. They can't wait to get back to dancing and living their life again, because this dance, I feel as though it's become such a big part of everybody who's stepped into our studio. It's become a part of their life, it's become a part of their routine, they go to work and it's like they go straight to Steps Dance Studio, because that's really where all the magic happens, It's our own little escape. Mm-hmm. Once we start dancing, we forget about every single thing that we have to worry about. And I know that I meant, when you asked me that question earlier, I'm like, do I worry? I think it's natural for everyone to worry. But my mother is the one that's always told me, don't stress. Don't stress. Don't worry about anything. At the end of the day, we'll figure it out, whatever it is that you may be going through, because that's the only thing you can do, right? Unless we stay put and we don't move forward, we're not going to get anywhere. So, whatever the situation may be, don't worry about it, because we can always work it out. And she's taught me that, and something I ran with till this day, and I think it's helped me a whole lot. But like I said, with dance, it's worry-free. It's truly an escape for a lot of people. And, you know, when I see people in my studio and they're dancing and they're smiling and they're meeting new people, it's really a rewarding feeling for me, you know?
Mm. Angelo, my friend, I'm honored. I'm honored that you graced us with your time. Thank you for sharing all that you've shared with us. And, you know, I know that, oh, wait, people want to interact with you again. Let's go back. If people want to get in contact with you again, if they want to take some of those online classes, can you give us all that contact info again?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So again, everybody, if you want to reach us, it's stepsdancestudio.com. You can find all our information there with regards to our schedules, our rates, and our phone numbers on there as well. 416. The funny thing is like I always remember my own phone number for Steps Dance Studio as 416-656-STEPS. We actually have the number. So that's probably the easiest way for you to actually remember. So I'll just say it that way and then you can just figure it out. But yeah, so 416-656-STEPS. And so you can definitely get in contact with us, and you can hit us up on Facebook. You can hit us up on Instagram. We are starting our TikTok account as well. So you'll definitely be able to hit us up there as well. But yeah, and if you want to get in contact with me directly, the best way to do that is at angelo@stepsdancestudio.com. Wow.
Angelo, thank you so much for sharing all that, coming on with us. We were honored to have you. Thank you, sir.
I'm so appreciative. Thank you so much, Neil, for having me, man. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope to see you around soon again.
Yes, absolutely. I look forward to coming down to the studio once you've reopened and we're able to come down.
Absolutely. Please do, man. I look forward to having you over there and you know, teaching a couple moves for sure.
Thank you very much. I got a couple of moves as long as I'm in the mirror. No, but I look forward to it. Thanks a lot.
Awesome.
Have a great day.
Thanks, man.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us today. Now don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we're also going to put a link in the comments below so that you can get access to Angelo's dance school and perhaps even a free dance tutorial on YouTube. You can look him up as well. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.